dreamer or a realist? You know, in our world, we tend to put one another in categories as a way to make sense of life, and one of the categorical slots we often use is dreamers versus realists. Dreamers are the why not people. Realists are the how can we people. Dreamers are all about the big picture, and realists want to know the details. Dreamers live by inspiration, and realists live by perspiration. Dreamers live on the side of the theatrical, and realists on the side of the practical. Or so the thinking goes. In most organizations, there are dreamers and there are realists. Within most homes and families, there are dreamers and there are realists. And Jean and I tend to trade those roles from time to time, although I think she would see herself more as a realist and me more as a dreamer, although once in a while I have to be the realist to her dreams, like last week when she wanted us to adopt a 110-pound English Mastiff to add to our already 4 dogs that we have.
Her name was Rain.
You know, the key seems to be a balance between the two, doesn't it? An integration of the two. For a world of all dreamers with no realists might be a place of complete chaos where nothing ever really gets accomplished. And a world of all realists surely would be a depressing place where no one ever tried anything new or stepped out onto a limb with any sense of adventure. We don't know a lot about the character in today's scripture, Matthew's rendition of the real Christmas story. The Bible does not give us many details about Joseph, the father of Jesus. And once we get beyond the Christmas story, other than a brief episode of Jesus as a boy being lost at the temple, Joseph is never mentioned again in the Bible. So whatever we say about Joseph is conjectured forward from this story. Was Joseph a dreamer or a realist? Everything we know about him would lead us to believe that Joseph leaned more toward the realist side of life. Joseph was a carpenter, and carpenters live in a world of exact measurements and precision cuts and firm foundations. Their actions follow clearly defined instructions and adequate preparation. One would think that the kind of guy drawn to carpentry would have had trouble handling maybe-sos and sort-ofs and could-bes. And what about this incredible story from the young woman he was getting ready to commit his life to that he thought he knew so well? If you're a realist and your fiance turns up pregnant and you know it's not your baby, what do you do? If you're an honorable realist like Joseph, who couldn't bear to trample over the feelings of even a woman who has evidently been unfaithful to you, you simply break off the engagement in as quiet and dignified manner as something like that can possibly be done. But did Joseph know about Mary's dream of an angel's visit and her calling to be the mother of the Son of God? And if he did know, would it matter? Matthew doesn't tell us that part of the story. We look to Luke for the Mary angle to this incredible tale we call Christmas. Maybe Matthew was a realist also. For Matthew starts his gospel with the family tree. Matthew had been around long enough to know that pedigree does matter. If your voice is going to be heard, it sure doesn't hurt if your daddy is somebody or related to somebody who is somebody. Now, political point of view aside, can you imagine that George W. would have ever occupied the White House had his last name been Smith or Jones instead of Bush? So Matthew traces the lineage of Jesus back through Joseph all the way to King David, and then clean on back to Father Abraham as a way of telling his audience that this Jesus is somebody worth listening to, somebody that we need to look at. If you're a realist, you acknowledge whether you like it or not. It's not what you know, it's what? Who you know that gets you somewhere in this world. Matthew seems to affirm that. But Matthew doesn't tell us how much Joseph knows about Mary's dream of an angel visit. And if he did know about it, could he believe it? Or realists are not only put the kibosh on the manufacture of their own dreams, but they tend not to jump on the bandwagon of other dreamers as well. What do you mean, honey, that an angel told you you're pregnant with God's baby? Maybe, Mary, maybe you've just been under too much stress lately, trying to hide what has obviously happened. Just be honest with me, Mary. Just be upfront. If there is somebody else, just say it. I'm not going to say I won't be devastated, but somehow I'll get through it. What I can't take is the dishonesty. The speech rehearsed in Joseph's mind must have gone something like that. Being a realist, who was also an honorable and good man, Joseph perhaps was even prepared to break off the engagement with a little financial settlement for Mary, knowing that in their world a pregnant, unmarried young woman had few options for making a livelihood for herself and her child. You know, realists tend to do quite well in the heat of the crisis. Realists keep their wits about them while everybody around them goes to pieces. The realist is the family member who holds up at the funeral home and through all the days immediately following, trying to get through the nagging details of life after a death, dealing with insurance companies and thank you notes and cleaning out closets and executing wills. Realists keep in mind what's best for the children in the aftermath of the divorce papers being signed, rather than trying to avenge the betrayal of a former spouse. Realists take the news of the plant closing, and the next morning they get up and they get out the newspaper classified section and they start planning the route for putting in job applications. And realists are the ones who will speak up at the church meeting to say, you know, given how much money we currently have coming in, we may not be able to do quite all that anymore. So who will volunteer? What realists without dreams sometimes are not able to do is to find their passion after a loss. What realists without dreams have trouble with sometimes is tolerating the dreams of others. What realists sometimes struggle with is this simmering internal anger that seeps out as indignant self-righteousness or self-loathing depression. You know, the elder son, you remember him? The elder son in the story of the prodigal was a realist. He knew that if the farm was to be profitable, somebody had to stay there and do the work, which he did, while his younger brother was off playing with his inheritance. You see, the realist in all of us understands exactly where the elder brother's attitude is coming from. Who has time for dreams when there are sheep that need to be fed, and there's crops that need to be harvested, and there's barns that need to be repaired, and bills need to be paid, and kids have to be taken to appointments, and supper needs to be fixed, and there's meetings to go to, and there's practices, and Christmas presents to buy, and there's pies to be baked, and on and on. Hey, somebody either get in here and help or they can go to Ryan's for Christmas dinner. Right? Who has time to listen to what could be and all those other pie-in-the-sky tales of the dreamers when there's a real world down here to be dealt with? And besides, maybe we bought the dreamer's line before and we found ourselves disappointed in the end. You see, the trouble with dreams is they don't come with a guarantee. And the problem with dreamers is they often don't have all the blanks filled in before they want us to sign the contract, if there even is a contract. They simply ask for our trust. Dreamers operate on the fuel of faith. You know, all that hope without seeing sort of stuff. We get the idea that Joseph was not prepared to believe in Mary's dream. He would try his best to end this messy situation with as little fuss as possible, but he could not believe in her dream until he had his own dream, his own angel visit. The request of Joseph by the angel was quite simple. Joseph, believe in Mary's dream. Now that's a tall order. It's one thing to follow our own dreams, but it's stepping out much further in this thing called faith to believe in the dreams of someone else and in the process make those dreams our own dreams. You see, Joseph was asked not only to tolerate Mary's dream, but to believe in it. Perhaps Joseph made the greatest act of faith in all the Christmas story when Joseph said, "Okay, Mary, I believe in you. Let's do this together. Let's follow this plan that God has for our lives, wherever it takes us, however crazy it might seem." Reverend Samuel Candler, an Episcopal minister from Atlanta, says about this passage, he says, the greatest gift you can give this year is to believe in someone's dream. The greatest gift you can give is to have faith in someone else, to believe in their dreams. Believe in the dreams of the person you love. Believe in the dreams of your partner in life. Believe in the dreams of your children. Believe in the dreams of your hero or your leader or your friend. Believe in their dreams, for God works through those relationships. God works through both Mary and Joseph. God meets both Luke's story of Mary's dream and Matthew's story of Joseph's dream, for they are all miracle stories. God works through this young and wonderful woman and her husband who believes in her. That miracle can occur again and again. Believe in the dreams of the person you love. Believe in dreams this Christmas, and Jesus will be born again. Believe in dreams this Christmas, and God will appear. The realist in us says, well, we've got some issues in our lives we have to deal with, right? And we do. All of us do. When it comes to the hard, cold facts of life, we have issues. It may be that what's coming in every month is less than what's going out. And we've got to learn how to deal with that reality. It may be that we have an addiction that has taken our lives almost to the bottom. And we have to face that reality. It may be that this Christmas there is no job or roof over the head. And that's the real world in which we live. But God calls us to dream and to believe in one another's dreams. So my challenge to you today is to go home, wherever home may be. When you leave here this day, set your heart dreaming. And come and share your dreams with all you see around you here this day. For there are dreams out there for the real world. And there are others who want to help you make your dreams, God's dream for you, come true. A while back, someone shared with me an editorial that was actually in the Greenville News, written by a Jewish rabbi, of all people. It was a surprisingly Christian message, though, that he spoke, talking about what the coming of the Messiah truly means. This rabbi said, what is the Messiah? Other than the one who inspires and galvanizes us to bridge the gap between the world as it is and the world as we know it could be. I like that. In a lowly state, in the presence of a poor teenage Palestinian couple, witnessed only by a few sheep herders, a baby came into the world. And God showed us the world as it could be. A world where peace and joy and hope and love rule the day. Where every valley in life begins being raised up, and every mountain to cross is made low, and the crooked things in life are straightened out, and the rough places are made smooth. Do you believe in that dream this day? I do. At least I try to live my life most days as if I do. And on those days when I fail to live as if I believe in that dream, you know what? God covers me with His grace. And He does the same for you. Would you share your dreams this day? And let those who love you in this world, which is everyone you see in this room today, help God's dream for you come to the real world. I know this morning. Our light and hope is about to come. And so let's get up. Let's arise. Let's shine. Would you pray? Into a world that often seems to dampen our dreams, extinguish our dreams, let your light shine. Rekindle in our hearts what our lives can be. And open our hearts to receive the love and support from those around us who want to believe in our dreams with us and make God's dream for our lives a reality in the world. This is our prayer today. In the name of Jesus.